All right, we are going live in just a second. If you need to hang for a second after the show, here we go. All right, guys, thanks for being part of the show. Great show with Steve Cortez. Thanks, Hart. Everyone watching, everybody pop over. Barbara, how are you? Good to see you all. Look, I appreciate Steve Cortez being with me. What a day, right? The guy literally, I'm sitting there last night, as they said in the show, we're talking about this Breitbart story, and I see his name, and I'm going, Steve's with me tomorrow. But 7 years, I watched a couple people do analysis today, and they are saying that kind of what Steve was saying, that there were some people, prominent people online, really echoing this concern. I just don't get why 7 years, but trust me, and I said it in the show, I'm telling you again, guys, something's going on here. 7 years almost to the day that this thing happens, and suddenly Snopes finds a way to do a fact check. I don't know. But I think the other big thing, we didn't get to it tonight, I'll talk about it through the week. Big news, Trump saying that he has picked a vice president. Now, look, he said, as you heard, if you didn't hear the clip, he said, I know who it is. I haven't told anybody else. I've worked around the guy for a long time, and I think, he probably has made up his mind. The thing that's interesting, and this is where everyone needs to kind of remember, is that, does that mean he can't change it? No. I think right now he's got somebody in mind. I've said this before. We've had 8 candidates that have been out there, and the top 3 that keep getting discussed are Burgum, Rubio, and JD Vance. I have to agree. I think that, hey, Katie, that's definitely what's going on as far as the top 3. I think that Doug Burgum offers him a contemporary, somebody that's about his age, that's an equal, that's a CEO, built a company, wealthy. So I think that's attractive to Trump. Vance, no question about it, a convert. I think the media thinks, oh my God, JD Vance wasn't always a huge Trump person. Name me somebody that was. I mean, I don't think Mike Pence was. He picked him. Nikki Haley definitely wasn't. So many people in the 2016 campaign. I think that the media is missing it if they think that that's somehow a criteria. But JD Vance is young. He's got the support of Don Jr. and a lot of others. I mean, Hannity and actually, I think Hannity's a Rubio guy. My bad. But there's a lot of people in the movement that really like JD Vance because of his commitment to the movie. And remember, this is a guy who has been writing about it for quite some time. So my opinion is I think JD is probably the front runner of the thing, but it's all in his head. And then Marco Rubio, I was a bit of a downer on because of his Florida residency. If you saw the episode that Mark Halperin did with us, Mark was able to walk us through why this isn't as big of a deal as I have been saying it is. So just so we're clear, the Constitution says that a state can't vote for 2 people from the same state for president and vice president. So that would mean that you'd you'd have to basically win by more than 30 electoral votes, because that's how many that Florida comes to the table with. So I think that that's a thing. And what Mark was saying is, well, the Constitution's clear that it only affects the Electoral College. It says that the electors cannot vote for somebody, right? It doesn't say that we can't, the people of Florida can. So what that would mean is that Rubio would have to, after the election, so the election's November 5th, the electors meet second week of December, and he would have to give up his residency and find a state to register in real quick, which isn't the hardest thing to do. He just has to go somewhere that has immediate residency. And in the 50 states, there are plenty that do that. So Halperin, and the beautiful part is that he wouldn't have to resign until then. So he really has nothing to lose. I had assumed that he would have to resign first. Apparently not the case, according to Mark Halperin. Neither of us are lawyers, by the way. And thanks, Hart. I agree. It was a very enlightening analysis because, again, this gets back to why I have a lot of the people that I have. And tomorrow, by the way, Will Scharf is on the show, one of Trump's lawyers, because it's important to always understand the law, the process, the rules. And what Halperin really did that I thought was helpful was explain why Rubio is much more in play than even people like me have given him credit for. I've watched Marco on a lot of these Sunday shows. I think he's one of the most articulate people when it comes to explaining conservative issues. And I think he does some of the best pushback and counter programming to the leftist hosts of these shows. So I think he would be fantastic. Plus, as much as Obama was to the Black community, I think Rubio is to a segment of the Hispanic community. Obviously, he's Cuban. You've got Cubans, Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, other immigrants of that heritage from South America. So, I mean, they're not monolithic. That's something that we all know. But I do think that it sends a signal to the Hispanic community in general. And not that that's a bonus, right? We're not identity politics kind of people. Neither is Trump. But I do think, and we will continue to talk about this all week long. The debate, by the way, I mentioned this earlier, we're going to cover that live after the debate. So we will be here, I think it's 10:30 to do some analysis. Deborah, you're asking about Tom Cotton. I think Tom Cotton is definitely, there's a reason he's in the 8. He's got strong military bona fide, strong foreign policy, obviously very committed to the effort. I wouldn't rule out any of those people. Carson, Tim Scott, Byron Donalds, Elise Stefanik, Cotton. I just don't know. And that's the thing about everyone who's speculating. We don't know. Maybe he has some affinity. Here's where my tell is, though. There's been no real connection, if you will, like seeing Cotton campaign with him or hang out with him. And to Trump, I know, by the way, June's saying I would love to see Doug Collins. That's an interesting one. As a friend of Doug's, that would be interesting. Ben Carson, Code for 75, saying, yeah, look, there's no wrong pick. That's the beauty of I think, the Republican bench, right? We don't have bad people. They're all great. And there's no one. I've seen some folks online. I couldn't go for this person. I couldn't go for that. Heck, I'm on board on all of them. I think they're all great. They bring different things. But this is where the media gets this wrong. This isn't about additive to Trump. Doug Burgum answered this question phenomenally yesterday on one of the Sunday shows. He's like, Trump doesn't need us, right? He needs a partner, but he's going to do this on his own. He's going to win on his own. He knows how to implement. And because he was president for 4 years, he understands Washington, and he's got an understanding of how the process works. And it's just who's against you and who's stacking the system. And that's Barbara saying, pick someone who's strong for 2028. I get it. I don't know that Trump really cares about that much. That's what I want, because we all know that that's pretty much the person that we're going to end up with, or at least is going to have a running start. So we know that. I would agree with you, though. I want somebody who I think is going to carry on. And one of the reasons, if you've had time, thank you to everybody who's gone to Salem Now to watch the Front Row Joe movie documentary that I just put out. But one of the things that I ask at the end of this thing to all the people, Donald Trump, Steve Bannon, everybody, and the Front Row Joes themselves, is where does the movement go? Some people think that it ends up with Don Jr., one of the kids. Some people think that, whether it's a Tom Cotton or a JD Vance or something, that it ends up with one of these people. I don't know. And I think that's an interesting question. But if you're the 2024 VP, you got a big leg up in that regard. So I personally actually think that that's something that I would want him to think about. To Barbara's point, I don't know that he will think about it, but I do think that is. And then Deborah saying, I think Byron B. I think it's Donald B. Is too inexperienced. I think is that Byron Donalds? Is that what you mean? Anyway, that's what I think as far as the VP goes. As to when, Trump keeps saying that it's going to be, at the convention. I think it'll start to leak out before that. That's my 2 cents on this, because there's certain things that you have to do to get ready for this. That's my 2 cents. But I don't think it's going to be this week. You wouldn't believe it. I was checking out the calendar today. The convention really is sneaking up on us. It is early. And so I just keep that in mind. All right, listen, I wanted to jump on because one topic we didn't really get to today was the VP pick. So Deborah's saying, yes, that's what she meant. I guessed that, right? By the way, if you didn't see Trump's rally in Philly, he was on fire. Part of the reason I did the documentary, Trump's Front Row Joes on salemnow.com, is because I think a lot of people don't get to go to a rally, and we wanted to show you what it was like to actually go to a rally. I mentioned this the other day, by the way. If you've got somebody who you think could benefit from watching what it's like on the inside of the Trump world, on the rallies, who these people are, at salemnow.com, you can gift it to them. And I keep thinking there's so many people that I want to just send this to and be like, you need to watch this. Anyway, I'll be interested to hear what you guys think. I'm reading all the comments about who you think should be good. Pink Zone will be strong. Yeah. But we will do more of this, as I said, Thursday night after the debate. It's 10:30. It's going to be late, but frankly, I think we're all going to be juiced up anyway. Just like, we should all probably start resting up just like Joe. And I'm going to be interested to see how much this debate, if at all, changes things. There's not that many people whose minds haven't been made up, if you really think about it. So I'm just telling you, I will be intrigued to see how this thing goes down. Anyway, I just wanted to jump on after to share my thoughts with you on the VP stuff because we didn't cover it that much today. Tomorrow, as I said, Will Sharf is going to be on. He's one of the president's attorneys. He's a candidate for attorney general out in Missouri, for those of you out there, or Missouri, as some of them say. I can never get that straight. You got Nevada and Nevada, and the Missouri and Missouri. I think those are the only two big states that really do that. Anyway, we will chat more about this. It's hard to go on so we'll break down more of the debate and the VP as we go through the week. If you've got Missouri, that's what Hart's saying. Deborah's asking what I think of the drug testing. Look, I think it's interesting. Trump should do it just because it throws a wrinkle in things, and you want to knock somebody off their game right as they go. Remember during the last campaign, he brought out all those women offenders, and they did it for a reason, just to rattle Hillary's brain. I think it's worth rattling. So I think it's kind of it's not going to happen. Just to be clear, Joe Biden's not going to agree to a drug test. But anyway, I just wanted to hop on. If you have more questions, I'll be checking out the comments in the next couple of shows. Let's try to get some of those so I can answer it. Anyway, I appreciate you guys kicking off the week with us on the show, and I'll see you back tomorrow talking about the president stuff, his legal issues, Mar-a-Lago, Florida, etc. Take care, guys.